Alex Jackson, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Portia?
I can't really complain. Not that it was
There you go.
So what's going on with you? How's life?
Life is good, right? Hanging in there. Just, keep taking it day by day. This is a good palate cleanser for last night's old white men yelling at each other.
Oh my God. Did you see that nonsense?
Yeah, man.
Oh my God. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
The whole thing was terrifying.
As
a black woman, I just want to go buy a gun today.
Ooh, you said it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, that was my initial reaction. I was, and for everybody tuning in, Alex is one of my favorite Los Angeles-based motorcycle riders. And I guess let's do that first, and then we'll get into the election and all of its nonsense. So tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what you ride.
Yes. My name's Alex Jackson. I'm from East Coast generally, by way of Kansas City, Missouri. I live in Los Angeles, California right now. I ride a 2019 Harley-Davidson Street Bob, one of the new Softail models. The first line of the Softail models that came out in 2019. And yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I love all things motorcycles. This is my third bike. My first bike was a 2001 Suzuki GS 500. So I've taken a couple steps up since then.
So how are you liking the transition? I had to turn the light down. It's making me feel head. How are you liking the transition from street bike to cruiser?
It's very different. I did have an intermediate step, which was 2009 Harley-Davidson Sportster. Okay. So that was it was an 883 Sportster. So that was a good kind of intermediate step between the sport bike and the more cruiser style, know. But so when I had both those bikes, I lived in New York City, which is just a very different riding style kind of altogether. Much less highway riding. So both of those kind of lower displacement bikes worked, but I love having the bigger engine out here on the California highways.
So now that you've got the bigger engine, right? How long have you been traveling? Are you doing state lines yet?
Yeah, I feel like it's funny because again, I'm going to say the difference between like New York riding and California riding. The longest ride I probably did out in New York was probably like an hour and a half, to be real. Out here, like it's easy to put, 3-4 miles on 3-4 hours, in the saddle and that be, and
not even go anywhere.
Exactly. just for fun. So, probably something like that. Probably, out to Paso Robles and the kind of desert areas out that way. Yeah.
So now that you're here in SoCal, have you found your tribe yet? Who are you riding with these days?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I ride with the Litas a lot. They're kind of a loose moto collective. You had my girl Sasha on here a couple weeks ago. From the Litas Long Beach. They've got like satellites in all different cities, which is really cool. But I ride mostly on my own, to be honest, or with my fiance. She rides as well. So we go out on, just the two of us riding or, a couple friends. But the motorcycle culture out here in California, I really cannot say enough about it. It's amazing.
We love it. We love bikes out here.
I love it. All types too. It's not just the Harley Davidsons. It's the street bikes. You do see a lot of big cruisers. I'm not going to lie. It's every type.
Okay. So do you think you're going to move into something bigger or you think you're good for now?
That's funny. I was looking at your Indian, of course, as I probably do very often. That is beautiful.
That
yeah. I mean, I love the idea of riding cross country. And I think if I were to ever do that, I'd have to do it on something like your Indian, something a little bit more comfortable, a little bit easier on the back, a little easier on the legs.
Right. Yeah. Got some storage space. Music and
Or even like on a sport touring bike, some of the bikes that kind of BMW makes,
right.
the bigger Kawasaki bikes. But for now, I'm super happy. Like, I never have a problem. If I need to like pass somebody on the highway, if I need to get out of a situation real fast, I have the power to do it. Mm-hmm. I don't have a speaker system. I don't have.
Right, we'll get you up to speed sooner or later. I'll have you bumping up the block sooner or later.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't have a windshield that dials up and down as needed.
I don't think Marley has figured that out yet. We really need to start checking in.
Exactly.
Technology. Okay. What type of events do you guys have coming up? Are you guys doing anything?
It's so hard now with COVID and everything. Mm-hmm. We did the last really big miles that I think we put on, and this was like months ago, was probably riding out just to, not even big miles, little miles, just to like Antelope Valley. That's how I've been keeping sane, really. Yeah. By doing little trips to San Diego, Santa Barbara, little trip to Antelope Valley. With the fires now, it's hard just to kind of pop out of the city. Sure. A lot of stuff got canceled. We were super excited for Babes Ride Out, which is usually in October.
That's right. It would have been coming right up the block.
Yeah, that event is huge. They were having it in Joshua Tree for a few years, then moved it out to Central Coast. So riding up that way toward Big Sur. Okay. Really, really cool event, but with everything.
I'm gonna have to check it out once next year comes around and everything hopefully gets a little bit easier.
Yes. Well, just taking those little sanity rides. I mean, I still try to sneak out on my bike whenever I can, even if it's just to the doctor's office or wherever I'm heading, just take a little short trip. Because it's still fun riding here in Los Angeles. It's still a good time.
Absolutely. It's still wind therapy. You still get it how you live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we'll take whatever piece of air we can get. So that's an awesome thing.
And I did that ride out to the Black Girls Ride event. Was that last month?
I think
that was last month, down to San Pedro.
I think it was in August. It was late August. Yeah, it was right before the march on Washington.
Yes.
Yeah. So All Girls on Ground was amazing. We had a great time out there. We're getting ready to put together our ride to vote. I need you to come ride with me on October 17th.
Tell me, what's the deal with the Ride to Vote? What's it called?
Okay, so it's Black Girls Ride to Vote. We're doing it in different cities across the country, but I'm organizing a ride here in Southern California. We're going to meet up. You're going to have your ballot. We're going to go drop it off at our county registrar, Los Angeles County Registrar in Norwalk, California. So you'll actually be voting that day. And then afterward, we're going to go to the Cali Angels picnic in Compton and get some food and some good fellowship. And, we're also going to be rolling with the Biden campaign. They're going to be rolling with us that day. So hopefully you ride with Biden like I ride.
I ride with Biden. Oh, yeah.
That was ridiculous yesterday. Like, I'll be honest, man. Like, after last night, I just don't know how anyone could justify voting for the other team.
I've never seen anything like what we saw last night.
Can you imagine Obama doing half of what either one of them? Not just half of what Trump did, half of what Biden did. Could you imagine Obama in the middle of a debate and telling his opponent, "Man, will you just shut up"? Can you imagine that?
Well, I'll tell you this. I love this idea of riding into the polls. I love the idea of, women, of course, having their ballots filled out, dropping that right off. And I love the idea of going to eat in Compton. That's a good idea. That's a great idea. Let's do that.
To be honest with you, it's a win for everybody. And my goal is to get as many people to come out and vote early so that we don't have any issues with our ballots being counted or with the post office being overworked. We'll know that our ballots are in the right hands and that they count and that, we're ready to move to the next step. So I need you to help spread the word to all your folks. And then what are you working on? Do you have any like nonprofit, any charity work that you're doing right now that you want to share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that is hard for me, I think a lot of folks who live in big cities and coastal cities are like, yeah, I'm going to vote the way that I'm going to vote, but this is a blue state. Does it matter how I vote? Is it going to make a difference? And that's how I was feeling for a while. So I recently, over the course of the last couple of months, learned about this organization, Postcards to Swing States. They send you 100 postcards directed to specific voters in swing states who are likely to vote, who probably need that little push. You write a handwritten postcard to them and send it to them via U.S. Postal Service. So you get to support the post office. You get to reach out to other voters. And it's just a really cool way to feel, a connection with folks who are in those states that are really going to make the difference.
Really, really cool.
Yeah.
That's really, really dope. Yeah, I want to learn more about that and maybe figure out how we can get involved in that before the election. I mean, we got roughly 4 weeks before the final day. But whether you can get to the polls with us on the 17th, we encourage everybody to vote as early as possible. Yeah. Voting in California starts on October 4th. So, you can go into any registrar's office and request your ballot. They're supposed to be mailing them to us.
That's right.
So that's awesome. But
California, hold up, let me bring over a prop real quick. Stay right there.
She got props. That's scary. I don't know what she's going to pull out the real way.
Oh, it's not. So California, love this place, sent us.
I got that.
California general election. Okay. If you received this, hope you didn't recycle it yet. Open it up. This is amazing. So first of all, it says right here, every registered voter in California, no matter what you're registered, Democrat, Republican, Independent, Green Party, doesn't matter. They're going to send you a ballot and you're going to be able to either mail it in. They tell you where to drop it. And in this thick packet, they have all of the propositions that are going to be on the ballot.
Yes, you got to do your homework. That's amazing.
It's right here, girl. There's not only is there all the details, there's a quick reference guide. If you don't have the time, you can just quickly reference and be done with it and take your time, vote, and then ride out with us and drop off your ballot. That's
what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we need to have an online study session so we could go over the props together.
Yeah.
Go over the candidates together and, really have an open discussion as a community on who's going to make good decisions for us.
Well, that's what I think everybody needs to be doing right now. And it's easier said than done. Like, I can definitely do more. But talk to folks in your circle. Talk to, your little cousin who you've been pestering to register to vote. Talk to him. Let him know, what you think is important. Talk to him about the issues. Engage with people around you, because it's not enough for us to be, perturbed and pissed off by what we saw last night. It's probably more than that. You got to open up those discussions for sure.
Yeah. And Obama said it best. He was like, it's a 2-tier process. You protest and then you vote. If you don't vote, then everything you're protesting about was for nothing. So
that's true.
we want to finish. We don't want to quit at the finish line. We want to get this done properly. And, I'm just excited to have younger folks like yourself joining us along for this ride and help us get the word out. And is there anything that we can support you with? Like, do you guys have any initiatives that you're working on? I know October is Breast Cancer Month, and there's a great breast cancer ride coming up in Los Angeles, too. I think the Jixer sisters are putting something together. What do you have on your agenda that, we should think about?
I have not been a part of the breast cancer ride the Jixer sisters are putting together, aside from signing up to be a part of it. Super excited to do that. Yeah. But I myself don't really consider myself to be an organizer. I don't consider myself to be any kind of public figure. I think
you're a great role model for young women who are thinking about learning to ride and are doing it positively.
I really appreciate that. My thing is just from my small little place where I am, who I am, and whatever I can do, and if that means lending my voice, to issues that I think are important. That's all I try to do. So I have a series on my Instagram. My handle is Ajaxathon, AJAXATHON.
What's your series about?
Say again?
What's your series about?
It's about social justice. I came back from one of the early protests here in Los Angeles at Beverly, Fairfax and 3rd, where the police came out with batons and just started cracking heads. People who were protesting peacefully, just walking by, hitting them with batons, started firing pepper just into the crowd. And you could see it on TV, you could read about it in the newspaper, but it's a different thing to have it happen right in front of your face. It's a different thing to be running from cars on fire, you know?
Wow.
So from there, I started the series just to talk about social justice issues broadly, not even just focusing on the protests that sparked this summer, but going back and just talking about kind of how we got to where we are today. And that's been my kind of lens for the whole thing.
Okay.
And of course, talking about it from a feminist lens also. So one of the videos that I did was on #SayHerName. Really, really powerful collective as well, not just a hashtag, but something that's part of intersectional feminism, intersectional feminism. Read about Kimberly Crenshaw and some of the things that play into why and how police brutality against Black women is different and has not only this element of racism, but also this element of misogyny that we, need to grapple with as well. And it's not something to be put for later. It's all part of the same system.
Sure.
So that's what my videos are about. That one is pretty heavy. The other ones are just kind of about, voting, why that's super important. As well as, of course, the first video about Angela Davis, Black Panther. Yes, OG feminist Black Panther. So,
I got a lot of love for Angela Davis. I went to UCLA, so we had her on campus as a professor.
Yes,
just sitting and listening at the feet of the master, the Yoda, if you will.
That's right.
The Black Panther movement, the Black Power movement in Los Angeles. And just learning we've come a long way, but boy, we got so far to go. We got a long way to go.
It's so interesting connecting with so many things that were being said and being written and being spoken about by the Black Panthers, by Angela Davis, by Fred Hampton, going back to, the 60s and seeing that, while we're here in 2020, not that much has changed. And a lot of what they were trying to tell us, at least for me, I'm only becoming conscious of now. And so embracing that consciousness and looking at the world kind of through new eyes has been really...
you know what? I will say this, there have been a lot of changes since their era. It's just that racism kind of went underground, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as overt. In the 60s and in the 50s and 60s, it was overt. It was in your face,
Yeah.
It was what it was. And then, my generation is the affirmative action generation. We reap the benefits of, all of those things and feeling like if you went to the good school and you got the good job that you could somehow transcend.
Yeah.
But that's not true either.
Mm-hmm.
It rears itself in different ways, in microaggressions and, certain ways that, we don't really say out loud, but you just kind of give a wink and a nod to people.
Yeah.
In those spaces, and you maintain,
Absolutely.
But I think now with the younger generation who hasn't really had to deal with that as much because of the internet, you've got a lot of young entrepreneurs, you got a lot of people creating their own communities. So they almost don't have to interact and don't have to intersect with these other communities in order to gain success.
Yes.
Now they're able to create their own platforms and say emphatically, we're not our ancestors. You're not going to do that to us. And calling people out on the carpet immediately, especially with, cell phone technology. These same police brutality issues were happening decades ago. It's just now everybody's got a camera and it's news at 11 immediately.
Yep.
you know?
It's not new. It's just being recorded. That's
Right.
all it is. It's just acceptable. And none of this is to discount the work that generations who came before us have done. None of this is like to discount the work of the civil rights movement or to say that they were passive and we are not, or to draw that kind of dichotomy. It's just to say that like we've learned and that we are that, one generation more sick of the status quo.
But you know what? I feel like there's you guys, your generation and the generations after you get to be complacent. You know what I'm saying? Because there are laws like the Civil Rights Act in place to safeguard your rights. There was the Voting Rights Act, but now those laws are being repealed. You know what I'm saying? We're on the verge of a serious regression of women's rights if Trump is successful in getting this judge pick that he has in office. We're talking about, we're about to start dealing with back alley abortions and things like that again because, the regression of rights. So that's why it's doubly important for you guys is, who don't want to see your rights trampled on to step up, because the generations that came before me, they're tired. You see what I'm saying? And they're literally fighting until their last breath. You know what I'm saying? We watched Ruth Bader Ginsburg literally on her deathbed fighting for the country. We watched John Lewis fight to death.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So now it's our responsibility to step up. And a lot of my generation has been, complacent and in the get money mode because that's what we were fed through hip hop. And, it's all about, money ain't a thing. I got the cars, I got the jewels, I got the house, I got this, I got that. We didn't really take into consideration that there are basic human rights that we still need to maintain and continue to fight for. So,
and I think everything that's happening now, and this conversation that we're having right now is like really, really good example of this, right? Like, everything is political. Like, I would love to come on here and just talk to you about, torque and displacement and argue with you about Harley Davidson versus Indian. And I wish that I had that privilege and that, that I could just get on there.
I noticed that too. That's a great point that you're making, because in other parts of the motorsports community, they have the privilege of saying, keep your politics out of our motorcycle group. This isn't the place for your politics. I've posted the right to vote in certain groups, and I have been told, "Hey, we're going to take your post down because we don't want to do politics in this space."
Yeah,
and I can respectfully say, "Okay, I get it," but like you said, it's nice to have that privilege.
It's nice. It must be nice. I can only imagine.
It's nice to have that privilege to only be able to consider riding.
Yeah.
Right now,
Yeah, I wish I could do the same. But, when we get on, anytime that I am in front of a camera, anytime that I have, I can speak into a microphone, I'm going to say Black Lives Matter.
Sure. Absolutely.
That's it. Like, we're at a point right now that, the stakes have never been higher. We're not talking about a choice between two candidates. We're not talking about your run-of-the-mill election. This is a choice between democracy and authoritarianism.
Right, I agree with that. I've voted in every election that I've been eligible to vote in. And you most of the time walk away feeling like, well, they're kind of going to do what they want to do, but I'm going to throw my voice in there. This is the one time where I feel like this is the last chance I might have to cast a vote.
That's it.
And that's
real.
So petrifying.
That is real. If you think we are overplayed, listen.
Not just as a Black woman. I mean, as a woman, period. Like, I used to watch The Handmaid's Tale. Like, that was my
I had to turn it off. I don't watch it.
It can be triggering, right?
It's too real. It's too real.
But I'm telling you, when you see how, first of all, notice in that storyline that a woman was responsible for creating the laws of that land.
That's right.
And then when she tried to speak up on behalf of women, they cut off her finger.
That's right.
And, you know, so.
Watch Handmaid's Tales on Hulu. It's very, very good.
If you have, I'm trying to fight from, you know, under his eye and Lord, girl, you're not gonna have me walking around in no red hoodie cape trying to get raped so somebody can have kids. Girl, stop. Can't even do it. So we got off on a couple of different tangents here, and let's wrap up with your favorite memory, your favorite motorsports memory. Let's wrap up with something lighter.
Favorite motorsports memory. Oh, that's super easy. So last year at Babes Ride Out, my fiance actually proposed. She tricked me. She got me up on stage. She came up to me and she was like, "Ooh, babe, let's do karaoke." And I was like, "No, I'm real drunk." And she was like, "Let's do it." So the song comes on. They call, Becca to the stage. It was Crazy in Love by Jay-Z and Beyonce. I'm like, "Baby, we don't know the words. Neither of us can sing. You can't rap. This is bad." She got me up there, and she was so sweet. She was like, This is my beautiful girlfriend. This is her first time at Babes Ride Out. We're so happy she moved to California." And then she got on one knee, and I blacked out. I don't really remember. I'm glad I have photos. She got me.
That's a hell of a memory, I have to say.
Yes. It's like 1,200 women in a room. So, I mean, couldn't have been a better moment. And
So when's the wedding?
The wedding is July 2021. We're trying to skirt around the Rona. It's going to be in New York with our friends and family. And
all right. Well, make sure you check out your YouTube channel, right? Ajaxathon.
That's right. Yeah, and it's on what's the IG thing? I just learned about it because I'm also IG, not the reels, but the IGTV. Yes.
Okay, so they can really click the link to your IG and see your stuff too.
That's right. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions at all that you want to ask?
So do we have a few more minutes? Because I want to hear. I want to hear real quick about the March on Washington. I want to hear about the ride out there, and I want to hear what it was like. Well, like you killed it.
Thank you so much. I'm trying to see what my girl over here, Liana, is doing. What are you doing?
Liana, what you doing?
She's doing a lot. Okay, so the March on Washington was amazing, right? There were 4 of us that rode from California. We call ourselves the Golden State Ground Pounders.
I love that.
3 of us left from Long Beach. 1 met us in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then we made our way east. The entire ride took about 4 days.
Okay.
We left on Monday. We got there Thursday early evening.
Wow.
It was rolling. The first 2 days were 850-mile days. Then we were able to ease up a little bit and do like 600 one day. So the good thing is we included a couple of historical stops. Excuse me. The first stop was to Little Rock.
Yes.
We went to Little Rock Central High School.
Yes.
Where the Little Rock 9 integrated schools.
Yes.
And the place is very historic. They've done a great job in helping to maintain the spirit of the school. Across the street, obviously COVID kind of wrecked whatever plans we'd had, but they have a museum actually across the street. So if you've ever got an opportunity to go to Little Rock, Arkansas, make sure you go visit the school. But we met one of the security guards who'd been there for like 32 years. Mm-hmm. And she was telling us some great stories. And it really helped to put the ride in perspective. On the days where it gets hard and it gets hot and it gets long, you think about those kids who just wanted to go to school with their friends. And here they are transforming the nation. And they didn't back down and they didn't quit. So it gives you that spirit, of perseverance and tenacity. So that was great. And then from there, we went to Memphis. We went to the Lorraine Motel where Dr. King was assassinated. And they've created a civil rights museum there as well. The thing about, I've been there a couple of times, you never are prepared for seeing it, you know. You are reminded of Dr. King's promise and how he was cut short in his promise.
Yeah.
And, you know, it really puts into perspective what could have happened. And so I had been asked by Reverend Sharpton to speak at the rally. His team contacted me and said they wanted to add me to the program. And I'm going to tell you, man, that was really, really a surreal moment.
Yeah.
You know, it's a sobering moment. It's one that I didn't take lightly. And so at first I wasn't sure if I was going to do it. You know, I asked everybody who meant something to me what they thought. Everybody kind of said, you know what, you got to do this. You got to do this. And so I said, okay, but now that means I'm on the road and I'm thinking of the speech and I'm thinking of what I'm going to say. And so, you know, I wanted to represent Black women. I wanted to represent the motorsports community in our protest to the March on Washington.
Yeah.
And represent for the women and men who got on their bikes and packed up and made their way. And I wanted to represent for my family all over the world. I've got, you know, family in Hawaii and in New York and California. I wanted to make sure that I made them proud. And above all, you know, I wanted to make sure that people knew that Black Girls Ride was unapologetically riding for Black lives.
Yes.
And so, you know, that's kind of the mode that you get into when you go, you know, when you're in that zone. And I had a panic attack beforehand. I broke down into tears because just seeing over 100,000 people on the National Mall and seeing the podium where Dr. King stood and wondering if you're built for this moment. You know what I'm saying? All those kind of things are coming into your head. But, you know, I had a great team and we stuck together, you know, throughout the entire day. We actually ended up taking about 40, 50 people up on the steps of the mall with us accidentally. I don't know how that happened, but somehow security was like, just keep going, just keep going. And we just kept coming up the stairs until the producer.
Wow.
What is going on? Who are all these people? And what she, you know, she was threatening to shut the whole thing down if I didn't tell people to go back downstairs. But how you gonna tell 50 people they got to get off the steps? And,
hey, at that point,
right at that point, get it how you live. So, you know, shout out to the girls in DC, Sheree, and those girls who helped us organize that ride out there, and my Steel Horse brothers and sisters who stepped up and helped us make that happen.
Yes.
But it was a beautiful moment for motorcycle riders. It was a beautiful moment for Black people in general to come together on that mall and our allies that were there to protest police brutality and to acknowledge that we are people that matter and we are a necessary part of the American fabric. And you know, it was surreal, but it was a powerful day.
Yeah, it must have been surreal standing in that spot where so many people have spoken too.
You know, my thing was I wanted to go out there, I did that speech, one take, no mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Like editing where I needed to edit because I went from having 2 minutes to 1 minute. And, you know, I was originally, I don't think I was supposed to be on live TV, but it happened. CNN and C-SPAN started shooting and everybody picked up the live feed. And next thing you know, I'm live on TV and I'm getting texts from everywhere. You know, it was a surreal moment for sure.
It was powerful. It was really powerful. And I thank you for getting up there and doing that and standing up and saying, you know, what you got up there and said. I just think, you know, for you to say that I'm one of your favorites, like you're one of my favorites, you're one of my role models in the motorcycling community and just at large, you know, as a person.
I never really think of myself as a role model as much as I want to be a vessel for you guys to have a platform. You know, and that was the whole purpose of even starting Black Girls Ride back in 2011, was just to be able to have a platform for women of color where there wasn't one. You know, this was a space where we were not valued in that way. Not that not that they weren't featuring Black women. They weren't featuring a lot of us.
Yeah.
For sure.
And not holding our own, not on our own bikes, on our own terms. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Most of the time they thought we were riding on the back with somebody else and that whole thing. So I am just proud that our social network, our magazine has been instrumental in changing the face of what motorsports is.
Yes.
We're definitely part of that team of women all over the country, whether it's Black Girls Ride or Women Ride Now, or, just the different opportunities for women to have our own space in motorsports and to insist that we are an important part of the conversation.
Yes.
I'm very, very happy and excited that we are a safe space for women to ask motorsport questions.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what the next 10 years has in store for us.
Well, y'all are doing amazing.
Well, speaking of which, though, you got to come with us. We're going to Africa in 2023.
Well, damn. If we get it 2023, I'm coming. Yes. If we get it, I'll be there.
I'm in 23, sure. Yeah, so that's the plan now. We're planning that trip.
Yeah.
We're planning our Essence Fest. This will be our third trip to Essence Fest, which has been just a remarkable thing, as it's grown over these last 2 years. This would have been our third this year, but it'll be next year. We're giving away slingshots. We're I got so much stuff planned for next year. It's gonna be amazing. So
you're giving away slingshots?
Giving away slingshot. We gave one away last year at Essence.
You the slingshot connect out here.
There are a lot of people that are purists who, slingshot is a car. That ain't a motorcycle. That's a car. I don't care. Whatever it is, it's fun.
Yeah.
I have an amazing time.
I'm not mad at you.
You know what I'm saying? I will jump in my go-kart and go anywhere, anytime. It's a lot of fun. So, yeah, we're doing that. We're going to give one of those away. And shout out to our sponsors, Indian Motorcycle, Polaris Slingshot, Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorney. Shout out to them for helping us to make all this stuff happen. I've got big plans for 2021.
I'm excited.
Yeah, man, listen. Going up. So, man, thank you for letting us infiltrate your evening. I know you got, a million and one things you could have been doing. Thank you for the time.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
And I will see you on October 17th. Yes?
That's it. I'll be there.
All right. Spread the word. Make sure your folks know what's up. And I think we're good. You have anything else you want to say? Any parting words?
Just thank you again. Shout out to Black Girls Ride. Shout out to Women's Motorcycle Exhibit. Lana who took that photo of me that y'all posted on the blog. I love that photo. I've never looked better in my life.
Why did you take amazing pictures?
She's incredible. She's incredible. Really, really, truly. Yeah, Portia, shout out to you. Thank you so much. I'm super excited to do this. And thanks again.
Well, thanks for sitting with us. And for everybody who tuned in, we have some giveaways that we're going to do. So make sure you follow the stories. We'll adjust for next week. We want to give you guys more time to enter to win. So make sure you follow our stories and catch the updates. All right. Make sure you go to blackgirlsride.com/ride to vote to get all of the dates and cities that will be hosting our Ride to Vote in. If you want to host your own Ride to Vote, make sure you DM us your contact information and we'll be in touch with you. Thank you guys so much and peace up. Bye.
Bye.